Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're having a great day so far. So today we're ranking concealers. I have 9, very annoyingly. I wish it was 10. Believe me, I wish it was 10, but it's 9. We're ranking my 9 concealers. I mean, I don't want to say that I've ever tried, because you know I had tried concealers probably before these, but in the last couple of years these are all of the concealers that I've reviewed, that I've tried, that have been in my life, that have recently come along in the last couple of years, and we're going to be seeing which of them make the cut and which not so much. So let's get started. So number 9 at the bottom, which a couple of years ago, who would have thought it, it's the Huda Beauty Concealer. This is the Overachiever Concealer. I mean, all of the writing is fully rubbed off of this. This is how much I love this concealer. When this first came out, this was it for me. It was the only concealer I used for like a year, I think. I had it in multiple shades. You get a huge amount of this concealer. How much is it? I mean, it's rubbed off, so we'll never know. Oh no, it's here. It's 10 mil. So one of the bigger concealers that I'm going to be talking about today. It is incredibly full coverage. Very, very full coverage. It was the first concealer that I had tried when this first came out that actually fully covered my dark circles, nothing peeking through at all. It was fully covered, and that was kind of the first concealer I'd found that actually did that for me. And when I first started using this, like I said, it was like towards the beginning of when I started my channel, maybe 3 or 4 years ago, and it was it. Didn't crease, stayed put all day. Loved it, was in love, was my holy grail for some amount of time. In the last year or so, this just doesn't work for me anymore. It just starts to crease very quickly. It creases badly, and I also feel like it doesn't stay put as well as it did. Obviously, as we age, our skin changes. Certainly things like fine lines certainly change, and this just suddenly, it was like a light switch was turned off, and it just doesn't work for me anymore. I feel like if you are, you know, under 30, or you just have a better under eye situation than I do, you'll probably love this one if you're looking for a super full coverage concealer. But for me, it just stopped working for me at a certain stage, which is, you know, sad, but we move. So in 8th place, a concealer that many people love. It's holy grail status for lots of people, just not for me. And it's the Armani Concealer. This one, for me, the Power Fabric Concealer, I've just never got on particularly well with it. It doesn't fully cover my darkness. It still is definitely peeking through. It's more of like a medium coverage, but it creases pretty bad comparison to the concealers that are coming higher up this list. So yeah, for me, it's just never been a love. It's okay, doesn't really do what I want it to do, doesn't really cover how I want it to do, doesn't really wear how I want it to. I struggle with the shades. Generally from this brand, shades are a bit tricky, but particularly with the concealer. So yeah, it's just for me. Nothing I love about it. Next up, a concealer that I no longer have in my possession, and it's the Too Faced Born This Way concealer. It's a ginormous amount. I think it's 15 mils you get with that concealer. So I just had it for so long, and I'm nowhere near through using it, so I had to rehome it, unfortunately. But I would say, a bit like the Huda Beauty concealer, that one, the Too Faced, super full coverage, very full coverage, and not quite as heavy in the under eye area as the Huda Beauty. Doesn't crease on me, but it's just much too heavy for me these days. I didn't mind it when I first tried it. It was good, a good full coverage concealer. I know, again, lots of people, it's holy grail status. Just for me, it's a little heavy. It looks a little heavy, and I just don't like as much how it looks under the eyes. So in 6th place, a pretty new concealer. This is the Laura Mercier Secret Camouflage. So it's the Brighten and Correct duo. So it has a brightening side and a concealing side, like color correcting side and a concealing side, and it's like a stick. Whereas the rest of these, pretty much, yeah, the rest of these are all liquids. This is a stick, so this is what it looks like. So I did review this and use this on camera. This was gifted to me, and it was gifted to me in like a too light shade, which is a little tricky as far as doing reviews, to really know how you feel about something if the shade is a little off. But this did not crease on me. It has a really lovely natural finish. It's not matte, it's almost like an illuminating finish, which isn't really my personal preference. Like I pretty much like I'd say like a satin finish. I don't want a heavy matte flat under eye, but I don't really want an illuminated, luminous, radiant under eye either. And this is just a little too luminous for me under the eye. It's also not mega full coverage, so I do have like some darkness still peeking through, but it was very, very lightweight and very easy and creamy to blend, and it also didn't really crease on me, so it was a like but not an absolute love. And now we're down to the top 5, one that has been around in my collection for a very, very long time, and this is the Clinique Beyond Perfecting. Again, another one with a completely useless shade range, and I don't love the applicator because it's like a squeezy tube with a nozzle, so you'll need like a brush to apply it rather than a doe foot, which the majority of these concealers come with. So yeah, I don't love the packaging. It's also, I find, so we'll have to squeeze this out onto my little palette that I use, and I undoubtedly every single time I use it then you put too much, so a lot does get wasted. What I love about this one is it's very light and natural. If you're going no makeup, very, very light. This is very flattering on a more mature under eye area, doesn't super crease, and like perfect for sort of summer lighter makeup, tinted moisturizer, that sort of situation. And it wears very, very nicely unset as well. So this was definitely my natural no makeup days. This is probably my favorite one. Definitely an underrated makeup product, I would say. Probably because of the shade range, lots of people won't be able to use it, so sort that out, Clinique. So in 4th place, the Shiseido. Now this and the next one, they were like holy grail status again for a little minute, a little while, but then others, we moved on, we moved. So in 4th place, this Shiseido. So this is the Synchro Skin Refresh, is it? Yes, the Synchro Skin Self-Refreshing Concealer came out along the same time as the foundation, which again, I love the foundation and I love the concealer. The doe foot slightly troubles me because it's a really weird shape. It's got that like hourglass shape to it, very, very small. So you can get in really small places, but it is a bit more time consuming and tricky just to get it all down. The doe foot is also very bendy. So just, yeah, it's something a little odd about the doe foot, shall we say. Very, very teeny tiny, not very generous amount, only 5.8 mils in here. So all of that could be improved. The concealer itself, it's unreliable is how I would describe it. On its best day, it's immaculate, flawless, perfect, beautiful, great coverage, very natural looking, does not crease. Love it. Then it's like the next day, maybe it will crease and something funky happens. So it's a little inconsistent and I don't really know why. Maybe it doesn't work very nicely with some foundations, but that's why I kind of went off the boil with it fairly quickly, because it's like it doesn't just give me a consistent result every single time. Sometimes it's a little tricky, a little sneaky, but yeah, I definitely have moved on from it. But it is a very, on its best day when it works beautifully, but I can't rely on it every time. And I know lots of people don't like this one and it hasn't worked and performed well on lots of people. This was a total fail. So I think that's probably down to that inconsistent way that it performs. Sometimes it hits the target, others it doesn't. So it's an unreliable, cheeky little. So in 3rd place, the Estee Lauder Double Wear Radiant Concealer. Again, a hugely underrated concealer. This was, until the top 2 came along, this was like it for me. Again, I don't love the doe foot. It's giant. The issue with this one is it's like a brick. It's literally like putting your concealer on with a rock. It's so hard and firm and it just doesn't feel nice and delicate, particularly using in your under eye area. So there's that. It also has that Estee Lauder, like, smells like really strong grass, and not in a good way. Not like a summer's breeze, someone's mowed the lawn, like stinks of hedge. But it does have very, very good full coverage, nice, natural. It says it's radiant. I would say it's more like a satin under eye finish. What? It's more of a satin finish than like a luminous, like the Laura Mercier. So I don't expect a glowing under eye area. Expect more of a natural satin finish. But yeah, great coverage, wears very beautifully. The 2 that come above it, I just prefer slightly more. They're slightly more natural, but this is a very good concealer. Don't love the applicator. Now, I'm going to talk about the Hourglass Concealer. We have been pretending that Hourglass doesn't exist on this channel for like a year, the last year. I've not really been reviewing or talking about the brand. If you want to know why, there's a whole video on my reasons, but the short version is because of the lack of inclusivity that this brand continues to demonstrate over and over again. But I do know that I did review this at the time before all of the events of last year, and therefore you guys may be wondering where it sits in the rankings. So for that reason, I'm going to talk about this concealer as I already own it. I certainly won't be repurchasing it, or I don't use it anymore, but I do already obviously have already purchased several shades of this, because for literally a minute this was my holy grail concealer. It's very gentle as far as the applicator, the doe foot. It's got beautiful natural full coverage and a lovely natural finish. It feels like it's got very, very good undertones for me. And yeah, I think you get a decent amount. It's 6ml, which is kind of the average minimum that I expect. But yeah, the doe foot is, again, it's just a very gentle, just about the right size. I like that it has a nice little curve to the shape so you can get right in the corners, but it very quickly, luckily, got gazumped by what you guys all know to be my #1 holy grail concealer. Of course, you know it's the Pat McGrath. I don't really use any other concealers. I have this in about 6 shades, an exceptional shade and undertone range in this concealer. Just, it's absolute perfection for me. I use this concealer every time I do my makeup, and no concealer makes me as satisfied with the outcome as this one. It's full coverage, as natural of a full coverage as you can get. Nothing showing through, very natural, feels lightweight, covers exactly what I want it to, and I love the super natural. Again, I think this would be described as like a radiant finish, but it's a satin, a natural satin finish. It's got some light to it. It's got the perfect size doe foot. It's very small and precise, so you can get right in the corners, but you can also manage to get like a good amount in the areas where you want to apply more quickly. It blends in like an absolute dream, very quick, very easy. Like I said, feels lightweight, no hedge related smell. It's got a nice fresh skincare scent, and for Pat McGrath, a very reasonable price point as well. I love everything about it. It just does everything I need it to do. It does not crease at all on me, which at 37 is, you know, it's not easy to find. So there you have it. That is my concealer ranking from 1 to sadly 9. Sadly 9. I did think about, you know, just going and purchasing some random concealer to make it to 10, but you know, that's a dangerous road to go down. So I can only apologise about the very annoying odd number that we have of concealers. I don't know if it's only me that bothers. What are you going to do? So I hope you found this video helpful, and I'd love to see you in the next one. Otherwise, take care for now. Bye 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 bye.